Welcome. Good morning to the 18th episode of the hour-long series on health issues brought to you by IHL, Wellness in association with HEAL. I'm Shankar Raj, President of the New Delhi-based HEAL Foundation. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. It's a coincidence that we are having the 18th episode on an 18th date. So I think that's a rare coincidence. Well, today's topic for discussion is obesity-induced respiratory diseases in India, increasing prevalence. No country is on track to meet the World Health Organization's 2025 target on obesity. The World Obesity Foundation, which is a lead partner to global agencies on obesity, including the WHO, has warned that by 2030, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 7 men will be obese, equivalent to about over 1 billion of the global population. Low and middle income countries, including India, are likely to be affected by this obesity epidemic. Obesity is on the rise, and a recent survey done by IHL Wellness has found that obesity is rampant, not just in metros, but it is spreading across tier 2 cities, tier 2 and 3 cities. What is worsening is that it is also spreading to rural areas where obesity and malnutrition, ironically, coexist, adding to the burden of the nation. To discuss more on this topic, we have with us Dr. Sandeep Katiyar, renowned pulmonologist with over 12 years of experience. He is currently practicing at Apollo Spectra Hospital in Kanpur. Joining him is Divya Prakash, a wellness entrepreneur, wellness therapist, and founder of Wellness Venture Metamorphosis. She's an accredited dietitian, nutrition counselor, certified psychological counselor, sleep mentor, and qualified yoga practitioner. Divya Prakash is known for her ethical and customized wellness solution, and she holds sessions for her clients, workshops, and webinars to corporates, institutions, schools, and colleges, and various government and other organizations. So I'll start with you, Dr. Sandeep. The topic for today's discussion is obesity-induced respiratory diseases in India, increasing prevalence. So the word prevalence itself suggests that obesity does induce respiratory diseases. So what is this particular link?
See, obesity is a problem which is like really running into a country with the newer opening of your fast food joints and the changing of our lifestyles. And according to an ICMR survey, the percentage of obesity in India varies somewhere between 16% to 32%, and the central obesity is like 17 to 38%. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This was done way back in 2015. And with the current set of scenario, it would have increased only. And with the COVID and all setting in, we were much less mobile, sitting at homes, not exercising. It has further increased these problems. Obesity leads to multiple of respiratory problems. The most common is obstructive sleep apnea, and the others being obesity hypoventilation syndrome, COPD, asthma, and there is also increase of pulmonary embolism, and there is aspiration pneumonias as well in these patients.
So how rampant is it in India, at global level and in India?
The prevalence of obstructive sleep apnea is very variable. In India, it was supposed to be 7.5% in the last survey, and while some of them have reported as high as 14% as well. But that is just the tip of the iceberg, because the patients don't really come to you to get it diagnosed, and you're not able to catch hold of the patients. This is just the patients who were a small set of people who were studied, and it was tried. The overall, the global prevalence of OSA varies between 6.5 to 9% in women and 17 to 34% in men. However, the latest data is much more. It says between the ages of 30 to 70, it varies between 34 and 17% in men and women respectively. And in India, it varies between 7.5 to 14%. And we might not really know that it might be much more higher than this, and it's a huge number.
Yeah.
Saying in the population that it is there in so many patients, it's a very, very huge number.
So you did mention that obesity is linked to various, lung functions, lung disorders, and respiratory diseases. So what exactly is the remedy? Of course, one remedy, obviously, on the front is you reduce your obesity. But what else can be done?
See, the best thing is to reduce obesity, because none of these problems go away otherwise. They come, they stay, and they just stay. Otherwise, the treatment of obstetric sleep apnea varies from multiple of things like surgical corrections to postures. But the most common and the most well accepted is the auto CPAP, the CPAPs, the BiPAPs. It is a device which is put, and it keeps your airway open and patent while you sleep. So it increases your oxygenation level, your oxygenation stays better, and the apneas and the hypopneas, which is a case which increases with OSA, which is a feature of OSA, decrease.
Fine. I'll just come back to you, and I'll go to Divi Prakash. Ms. Divi Prakash, Divi Prakash, Dr. Sandeep raised a very vital point regarding sleep apnea, lack of sleep, and linked it to obesity. And you are an expert in both diet and also sleep-related issues. So what's your take on this, that obese people have big problem regarding sleep and that affects their quality of health?
Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me again in your show. So very good topic. I must say it's a very simple topic, but people are suffering like anything in our country also. Like when you are obese, like overweight and obese, like people understand these days about the BMI, okay, body mass index. If you are over your BMI, like your height, weight in kg divided by your height in meter square is your BMI. Okay, if your BMI is more than 30, you are obese. There are different grades, obese 1, obese 2, obese 3. But if you are above, your BMI is above 30, you are obese. With obesity, lots of disease, non-communicable diseases enters inside the body, like diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, and respiratory disease is one thing. Like today's topic is for the respiratory disease. What happens when we get obese? Okay, we have to understand why obesity and respiratory diseases are interlinked. Like there are two shapes of body. Shape of body, one is apple shape and another is pear shaped body. In apple shaped body, this stomach or belly part is like big in size. Okay, trunk is big in size, but in pear shape, your like butt, your thigh gets fat deposition, but your waist is okay, waist size is okay. So these are two. The obese people whose body shape is apple is more prone to respiratory disease. What happens? Just imagine, आपका ये जो stomach का part है, वो जब फूल गया, बड़ा हो गया, that is very common. पतले दुबले लोग भी होते हैं, their lean body mass is good. बट उनका ये टमी निकला रहता है. जब ये टमी बाहर आता है तो आपका जो डायफ्राम होता है वो प्रेस होता है, योर चेस्ट वॉल वो भी प्रेस होता है अंदर की तरफ, और ऑब्वियसली आपका जो लंग्स की जो टाइडल वॉल्यूम होती है, मतलब अगर जब हम ब्रीद इन ब्रीद आउट करते हैं तो हमारे लंग्स में कुछ जो वॉल्यूम होता है, एयर वॉल्यूम, ऑक्सीजन, दैट ऑलवेज देयर, क्योंकि वो अगर पूरी ऑक्सीजन बाहर निकल जाएगी तो हमारा लंग्स कोलैप्स कर जाएगा. पर ये जब हमारा ओबेसिटी, स्पेशली इन एप्पल शेप बॉडी, जब ये बाहर की तरफ निकलता है तो ये लंग्स प्रेस होता है और जो टाइडल वॉल्यूम है वो लो होती है, एंड वी स्टार्ट ब्रीदिंग, डू शैलो ब्रीदिंग, जो कि एक ब्रीदिंग होनी चाहिए कंप्लीट डीप ब्रीदिंग, जो कि हमारे स्टमक से होकर जाती है और काफी हमें ऑक्सीजन का गुड सप्लाई आता है और हमारे बॉडी में जाता है, एंड इट क्रिएट्स गुड इफेक्ट इन आवर बॉडी, दैट गोज, एंड वी स्टार्ट टेकिंग शैलो ब्रीदिंग, क्योंकि हमारे पास यहाँ से प्रेशर आ रहा, और ये प्रेशर डिजास्टर कर देता है. इसके अलावा ओबेसिटी के साथ हमारा नेक गर्थ, girth जिसको like we measure neck girth also in obese people, but in general people don't know about कि हमारा neck भी मोटा हो गया. जब neck मोटा होता है, like कि for men, if your neck girth is more than 35.5 centimeter, it means you are at risk of like sleep apnea, Dr. Sandeep has mentioned. And in women, if it's more than 32 centimeter, okay, it should be ideal. But people don't understand. People just calculate their BMI and they are happy. But if they're like, जब ये आपके यहाँ पे fat होता है, that is called pharyngeal fat. तो ये आपका जो air passage होता है हमारे यहाँ पर, वो choke होता है, and that causes sleep apnea. I believe I am right, Dr. Sandeep?
Yes, very well, very well covered.
So these
Very
things
well
are
said.
like, yeah, तो हमें ये समझने की जरूरत है for our audience, like कि and viewer कि उन्हें ये समझने की जरूरत है, obesity is not only calculating your BMI, you are supposed to calculate your WHR, waist to hip ratio. It's very important. स्पेशली जो हम रेस्पिरेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, रेस्पिरेटरी डिजीजेज एंड कार्डियोवैस्कुलर डिजीजेज, जो भी प्रॉब्लम आती है, for women, if your waist to hip ratio is more than 0.8, you are at higher risk of all the diseases. Similarly, for men, if your WHR, waist to hip ratio is 0.9, then you are at higher risk. बहुत सारे आपने देखा होगा lean लोग हैं पर उनके tummy निकले हुए हैं. Waist to hip ratio nobody calculates. And all the apps these days, they just tell you to find out your BMI, and accordingly they provide you the diet plan to reduce your weight. But if your WHR is high, your neck girth is high, you are very prone to all such kind of diseases. And simple solution, you need to lose your weight with just 10%. If you will lose 10% weight, your symptoms, you will get 50% relief from your all the sleep apnea and other symptoms.
You said it is a simple solution, but it's a very hard solution to implement on the ground. That's what I was discussing.
No, Mr. Shankar, it's not very hard solution. आपके show पर continuously I am coming and I provide customized diet solution.
Yes,
and
yes.
I don't give diet solution for 3 months, 6 months and 1 year. I tell them just change your habit, change your lifestyle, and you will practice the same lifestyle like eating healthy, doing physical exercise, doing some yoga and meditation for your mental health, sleeping on right time, and slowly and gradually, when you will learn all the techniques, it will become your lifestyle. Lifestyle is nothing. The way you live your life is lifestyle. And I just suggest, and it's very simple. It's nothing fancy. I believe that these diet app or diet solution, they just tell you to count your calories. It's very difficult. You practice those or you follow those instructions for 3 months and 6 months. And after that, you forget everything. But I request people to learn, to get educate how to live healthy life and enjoy your life.
Fine. I'll come to you, Mr. Prakash, and I'll go to Dr. Sandeep. Dr. Sandeep, how exactly would you define lung hygiene?
Lung hygiene is something we need to maintain. It's like your there was study done in ventilated patients where it was found that the resting oxygen requirement was 16% more than against a normal subject, and the actual during the process they also realized that the oxygen requirement increased by 70% in obese people than in non-obese people. So when your fat increases and when you start becoming obese, all your muscles get filled with fat, and there's loss of muscles as well. You keep on maintaining an inflammatory state in your body. Your body is at a constant level of increase in your inflammatory markers, which lead to constant damage in your body. It is something like smoking. and COPD diseases. When you get COPD, your body is in a constant state of inflammation, which leads to multitude of problems. And the same happens with obesity. There's an increase in inflammation. There's increase in the leptin levels, and there are very many problems which come with it. When you breathe, as Dr. Dibya Ms. Dibya rightly said, that there's the diaphragm is flattened, and diaphragm is a very important muscle which works during sleep. It is a muscle which is involuntary, and it helps you breathe when you're sleeping in your REM and your non-REM sleeps.
But how often should an obese person go in for a lung function test?
It's not just a lung function test. The lung function test many a times might come as normal as well. The FEV1 does come down, but it's a more of a restrictive disease than an obstructive disease. Because of an increase in fat, say COPD and asthma are obstructive diseases, where the obstruction is there in your airways. And by the inhalers and the medicines, you are able to get relief of that by that obstruction. But same is not the case with obesity. Obesity is a restrictive disease in which the fat is deposited over your chest walls and your muscles, and you're not basically able to move your chest wall that much. So when you're not able to move your chest wall that well, the values start going down on your total capacity of the lung. The FVC starts coming down. And once that starts coming down, you cannot increase it by the help of medications.
So my other question is, since obesity is linked to lung diseases and other NCDs, so do you think bariatric surgery will help in this case?
See, bariatric surgery is a controversial thing. It is very well shown to reduce the weight, but there are newer things which are coming up. The latest being the balloon technique, where a balloon is inflated in your stomach, and your capacity of the stomach comes down. And when you lose that much weight, that balloon can be deflated. But going for a surgery, a gastric bypass surgery, where your stomach size will be reduced forever because the malabsorption starts, and there are very, very many issues which come with it. You do lose weight, but you can gain multiple of problems along with it, because it is a one-way road. And plus, I have seen people who have gone for bariatric surgeries, they have lost weight, and because their dietary habits were not improved, they started gaining weight again. One was my very close, a far away family member only. He was like 140 kgs. He went for surgery. The weight came down initially by 20-25 kgs, and then his drinking and all did not stop. And he started gaining weight again, and then he reached his pre-weight, the pre-surgery weight. So the most important thing, as Ms. Dibya rightly said, is lifestyle control.
Yeah,
it is a lifestyle which we need to adopt for ourselves. Regular exercise, proper healthy eating at the right times.
So my other question is, you mentioned that obese people are more prone to respiratory diseases, non-communicable diseases, and Ms. Divya Prakash rightly said about the body shape. So can a lean person also have these problems?
Yes, they do. Like I was just about to say that the neck centimeter, which she said, that the necks become wider and the fat deposition starts there. So you don't. It's a very understudied disease. And one of my seniors had a thesis at that time while I was doing my post graduation from National Institute in Delhi. So it was OSA in lean patients, in which the BMI is fine, BMI is normal, but they're still getting OSA, because OSA is a multilateral thing. OSA can be because of central apneas as well, and you can just when you start getting fat, fat is deposited in different areas of your body. It need not start depositing from your stomach only. It can start with the neck also. So if you start gaining weight around your neck region, and you have a short stubby neck, then you're much more prone to get OSA.
I think there was a study done at All India Institute of Medical Science earlier regarding double chin and the stub neck that you have and how you're prone to diabetes and
Yes.
That's the one you're mentioning. You're referring to.
Pardon?
That's the one you're referring to.
No, not that. It was thesis which was done by a medical student in my college.
Okay. Ms. Deepa Prakash, what is your take on lean people having these mimicking these problems? And what's your take on bariatric surgery also, incidentally?
Yeah, firstly, I will talk about the lean people getting OSA. Okay, obstructive sleep apnea. Firstly, we need to know if, like our viewer, if they are not well aware with the scientific term or the jargon that the sleep apnea, what they are talking. Sleep apnea obstructive means कि आप जो सांस ले रहे हैं, generally you will find that कि एक तो हमारी जो सोने की posture होती है, that again is very important. हम कैसे सोते हैं, ठीक है? There are different way of sleeping. अभी अगर आप you are very tired and you are sleeping flat on bed with your back and raised hand, the posture will create you like you will snore. आप जब आपके ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव ब्रीदिंग होती है, यू स्नोर, साउंड के साथ आप करते हो, शैलो ब्रीदिंग लेते हो, आपका एयरवे ऑब्स्ट्रक्ट हो जाता है, आप ब्रीदिंग करते हो पर वो प्रॉपर नहीं जाता है, आप स्नोर करने लगते हो, थोड़ी देर बाद यू फील चोक्ड. एंड in studies, it is found that the people, if in fact in lean people also, if they are having OSA, they get disturbed minimum 30 times in one night. 30 times. You can imagine about the disturbance in their sleep. 30
knowingly or unknowingly?
Unknowingly or unknowingly. Firstly, your posture of sleeping is very important, the way you sleep. And secondly, like, you are, because some people are having very fast BMR, basal metabolic rate. They eat, they are able to digest, they are physically active, or genetically they are not prone of gaining weight. So they are lean people, okay? But their eating habits are not good. They drink, they smoke, they eat saturated fatty food, and deep fried food, frozen food, preserved food, everything they do wrong. They sleep late, they get up late, and they develop this OSA. So these are the few lifestyle. Lean people can also develop OSA. They snore. You might have come across with so many people because of their wrong habit and the sleeping posture is one thing. And for bariatric surgery, I'm totally agree with Dr. Sandeep. You can lose weight through surgery. You have not gained. We have to understand, nobody gain weight overnight. Nobody. It takes 5 years, 10 years. Over a period of time, they put on weight. Like they are 150 kg, 160 kg. They eat like anything. They practice all sort of diet for 2 months, 3 months, then leave. They feel that it's not working, they leave, then again they put on weight, like yo-yo diet kind of thing, losing weight, gaining weight, and one finally day they leave all their hope and put on like 150, 160. Then they consult the doctor with the same habit. And bariatric surgery, if your stomach size is small, like God has created our body in such a way with like just little finger. You cannot do your work without your little finger. Every body part is important. If you reduce the size of your stomach, absorption, food absorption will be disturbed and you will develop other problems. It's always better. Have patience, give 1 year or 2 year time to yourself and start living healthy life. Start adopting good lifestyle, and every month, if you will lose 2 to 3 kg weight also, in 1 year, you can lose 30 to 35 kg of weight. And that is same thing is bariatric surgery do. So why to trouble your body when you can get the result like by simple method?
I totally agree with that. I will just like to come to that again, like 2 to 3 kg weight loss, which you talked about. These newer gyms and the newer things which are starting up, they target like 5 to 10 kgs in a month. And we get patients where the females are there who have had a sudden weight loss, and what they get in the end? Tuberculosis.
Oh my God. Okay.
Because your immunity goes down, you're starving yourself. And we all are exposed to all these bacteria and all which are already there in our system, and they get a chance to get activated, and they cause disease. So we have fast weight loss with malnutrition is a very deadly combination in a part of the country.
Yeah.
Young females, young males. Well, I have seen catching tuberculosis.
In my introductory remarks, Dr. Sandeep, I had mentioned that obesity is on the rise, even in tier 2 cities and 3 cities. And it is worrisome that it is spreading into rural areas and hinterlands of India. Now, what happens is, can this increase the burden of non-communicable diseases and respiratory diseases in particular in villages and in other hinterlands?
It does increase. Because 70% of our population lives in the rural areas, and with the lifestyle changes which are coming in, the availability of these fatty foods and chains opening everywhere, it is a real burden. It is an epidemic we are sitting upon, which will burst one day. The expense, the amount of money which the government of the developed countries are spending on the obese patients is obnoxiously high. It runs in billions of dollars, and they really want to control this thing, because it is something which cannot happen overnight. To make a lifestyle change in a population is a very difficult thing. So It is always better if we can maintain the things which we used to do in a country, rather than adopting foreign cultures, the foreign food habits. It is much more to do with the sedentary lifestyles as well. The coming of the computers and your TV screens, which keep you hooked on the sofas, and you don't move around anymore. You don't play outside because the play areas are reduced. You keep on sitting there. You give your children mobile, and obesity basically starts with kids only.
Quite right. In my earlier, when we had a discussion on obesity, I had mentioned, that as what Divya Prakash you mentioned, it's not an overnight problem for obesity. So I used to always say that what is temporarily on your lips is permanently on your hips. That's the problem, because you do not know what is happening. So you taste, and then one fine day you will find that you are apple shaped. That's a problem. So we will come back. We'll take a short break, and then we will be back again.
Sure.
Pavitra, can you play the video? Most adolescents lack 3 things. One is healthy food. Second is sunshine. And third is quality sleep. So what's the solution?
So one, this entire generation, we today call them as Gen Z, don't eat regular meals. They are now getting into this whole act of just snacking. And I think snacking is the way to go, So they're majorly absent at all family meals because they've eaten something, and they want smaller meals, something which is essentially high fat, high sugar, high salt. And that is becoming a huge challenge for this generation. Sleeping at night, and I was just hearing Doctor also speak, this Netflix culture seems to be seeping in so much that today most of the adolescents, even when we look at colleges and class 9th, 10th, the weight seems to be seeping up precisely for these reasons, that when we look at the hormones, the maximum hormones, the growth hormones, the leptin, ghrelin, are all regulated between 12 a.m. and 4 a.m. And that's the time when these young adolescents are actually busy watching TV or surfing on the net. And then they are sleeping through the day, wherein, brings to the third point that they're actually missing out on the entire sunlight. They don't see daylight actually most days because they're rising up only at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. They missed out on a major meal, and there is a regular weight gain which starts to happen. So I think all these three things, three questions, all put together, all tightly connected to each other, are something which is a huge concern for us, because when people come, when these young adolescents come to us, counseling becomes to you're first actually not beginning with the nutrition, you're beginning with sleep. And once the sleep gets regularized, then I know that this person is going to get up early morning and eat, go for an exercise or eat a breakfast. So I think as a nutritionist, I deal with sleep first.
Welcome back. In the short video that we saw, it was Nazneen, who is a dietitian and also a wellness expert. And before we had this video, Divya, you were explaining about the sleep postures. So what are the ideal sleep postures? You said lying on the back is not good. So what are the ideal postures that normal people should have and obese people should have?
Generally, one should try to sleep by left side. But whole night you cannot sleep in one posture. You can take other posture also, but you should try to sleep on the left side of your body. And the second thing, you should not sleep like keeping your hand on your head, keeping your hand on the chest. Try to sleep and slight curve on your knees. Not fully bended knees, just slight curve on your knees. You can sleep like that. So it will relax your, you should not sleep on very, I can say, gaddedar mattress. Because these days, these kind of mattresses are available. It also impairs your posture, sleeping posture. It should be slight hard mattresses. And sleep hygiene is again, posture is one thing. Like when you will take posture, because if you are sleeping on very cushiony mattress, obviously, you would like to sleep flat on your bed. But if a mattress is slight harder, so you will sleep comfortably through your left side, because your stomach is like, you have to understand why I'm mentioning left side. Because your stomach and the juice is getting released through your stomach, the position of your gallbladder, the secretion of bile. And you should not sleep. This is one aspect, Mr. Shankar. And second thing, just after having your meal, like you are taken meal, you're 10 o'clock and immediately you went for sleep. Obviously, you will not be able to sleep in any comfortable position, good posture. You will sleep in a comfortable posture. So you should avoid taking meal at last moment. You should take meal, if not 3 hours before bed, at least 2 hours before bed. And just after having food, don't lie down and start watching TV. Just roam around, do some household chores also. It will settle your body. It will adjust your body. And then if you will go for sleeping on bed in left side posture, you can sleep comfortably.
So ideal would be the fetal position, where you curve your legs and sleep on the left side.
Slight curve, not completely curved, slight curve. You will feel relaxed. Your spine will be stressed and you will feel comfortable. Your digestion will take proper care of by sleeping on left side, because your stomach, the juices, digestive juices, bile secretion, everything will take place in that posture.
I'll just add a few words to that. When we are born, the baby sleeps in a fetal position, and they are fed every 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours. They keep on taking their meals, but as we keep on growing up, the gap in the meals increase, the irregularity in the meals increase, and that is where the problem starts in. So yes, we do need timely meals and the right sleeping positions.
Fine. And Dr. Sandeep, we all discussed about obesity, how it is lifestyle induced, how it is food induced, and lifestyle changes. But what about women who put on weight due to pregnancy, hormonal issues, and steroid induced obesity? They find it difficult to get their body back in shape.
It is not. It is not so. Steroid induced obesity is definitely a problem because they are all dyspneic people who have got breathlessness as well because of some disease. They are being prescribed steroids, and they are not able to exercise that very well. Now they should. We do advise them to cut down on their fats, the fat intake and the carbohydrate intake in them, and we ask them to try to maintain a healthy lifestyle so that you are able to at least do a walking. You are able to walk around, not exercise regularly if they are not able to because of the dyspnea. But these are stubborn problems which do arrive in patients.
Yeah. Now, are there any specific areas in India where obesity and respiratory diseases are rampant? For example, in Gujarat, we find more of obesity, but we don't find the same in Punjab or probably the Northeast. Why is this, sort of?
I won't say that because obesity is a problem which is more in urban areas right now than in the rural areas, and it is slowly catching up in the rural areas as well. The patients we keep on getting from different parts of the city and the outer city and the adjoining villages are much more in that. The people are not moving around much, eating fatty foods. So it just comes down that it is not there in a certain part of the country, but it is a problem which is there throughout the country, and even in South the central obesity is much high. So if the ICMR data of 2015 says that the central obesity varies between 17 to 34%. So it covers basically 1/3 of your population. And if a 1/3 of your population is getting covered, it cannot be a state-specific issue.
Why I'm asking this is in one of our earlier shows of IHL, we had an expert saying that there is some study. It's not taken off fully. They said they compared rural women in Gujarat and rural women in Haryana. And they found a huge difference. Haryana women are more slim and erect and walk, though they do the same type of work. But in Gujarat, it is different. So they're trying to find out why it is happening, because both are rural areas and both are
because of increased sweet intake in Gujarati food as well.
Probably
the Gujarati food is sweeter. Even the dal is sweeter, on the sweeter side. And once you start increasing your carbohydrate intake, obviously you're at some point in your life you're bound to gain weight, no matter how much you're able to work out. But end of the day, it comes down to the amount of calories you're taking.
Yeah, fine.
It boils down to that.
Are coastal area people more prone to respiratory diseases because humidity is high?
No. That is at some point of in your life, I would say rather the central parts of a no matter how you are able to work out, humidity during the down to the amount of calories you're taking, as we keep on seeing in Delhi. Boils down to that. The air movement is much more in the coastal areas. The air is much more fresh.
Diseases because humidity.
So it is not so that the coastal areas are bound to get it more. It is more of the central area where the air movement is much less because of your buildings and the less trees which are there.
I'll just come back to you, Mr. Dipin Prakash. We all maintain that it is due to that, sort of lifestyle changes and food habits that we have these obesity problems of obesity, sleep, etc. But a major problem is that, you switch over to natural foods, but even there you have almost vegetables and, chicken and other things have a lot of hormonal things injected into them. And that causes obesity, that causes other problems. So what is the solution? And you find these days children growing taller, children going fatter, and the blame is just not on fast food, but also on the type of food that they take.
Yeah, it's a really very serious issue, and I always give a thought for this kind of problem. The solution is like government has at many places in many states, government has advocated for like rooftop agriculture, like rooftop garden. So you can develop your rooftop garden. Government provides subsidy for motivating people. If you are having 300 square feet area on your rooftop, you can develop. But I can imagine about the situation in metros like Delhi, Mumbai. There it's really difficult. Few solutions are there. I am like, it's though difficult for poor people, buying organic food is out of their pocket because it's expensive. But those who can afford can start eating organic food. And like one thing I always find out that milk consumption, because of people feel in India कि बच्चे बड़े हो रहे हैं तो उनको मॉर्निंग इवनिंग वन बड़ा वाला ग्लास का दूध देना ही है, एंड वो भी ग्वाले से लेकर आकर के देना है. मिल्क मैन विल प्रोवाइड द मिल्क, दैट मिल्क इज वेरी गुड. बट जस्ट इमेजिन अगर वो जर्सी काउ नहीं है, हाउ मच विल मिल्क दैट काउ विल गिव. All milkmen give injection to their cow to take out more milk and money, to make money. और वो जो injected milk हम अपने बच्चों को ये कहकर पिलाते हैं कि it's very good and it's a good source of calcium, it's good source for your health, लेकिन उसमें hormones है. इसीलिए आप देखते होंगे young girl, they are getting puberty at like 8 to 9 years at age. So we should not force. हमें समझना है, if I am in a metro and हमारे बच्चे को कैल्शियम की जरूरत है, so there are other sources of calcium available there. We can provide them that. Green vegetables and fruits, whatsoever thing we are getting, हम चाहते हैं और देखते हैं. जैसे I have seen कि in Delhi, I have seen people are buying like mustard saag, सरसों का साग, and they just go buy and they tell the vegetable shopper ki just chop this vegetable, green leaves, I will wash it and I will cook. Just imagine. People don't mind doing extra effort. If they are taking green vegetable also, they don't put little bit effort for cleaning the vegetable, like taking out the weed, cleaning the vegetable. Before taking the vegetable or some fruit, we can peel off the skin of the vegetable or the fruit. We can clean them. We can put in the baking soda for some time, for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then we can eat. There are so many solutions. Before cooking the pulse, we can soak the pulse for half an hour to chill out all the like these kind of effect, fertilizer effect or something effect. We can soak our rice. So there are so many option cooking practices. If we will put little bit of effort, we will get the maximum effort of that. I know it's really difficult to control, but by the practice of good habit, like घर में जो mothers है, we have no time. Like all the ladies are working, we are dependent on our maids. Life change हो गई है. We need to put a balance. So it's very difficult. I'm a housewife also. I'm a working woman also. हमें करना है, और ये दिस इज नॉट द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ ओनली लेडीज. इफ देयर हस्बैंड, चूंकि हम एक सिंगल फैमिली में रहते हैं, इफ देयर हस्बैंड ऑल्सो पुट देयर एफर्ट कि फैमिली हेल्दी है, व्हाट्सोएवर यू आर अर्निंग टुडे, आप पूरे के पूरे मेडिकल एक्सपेंसेस में लगा देते हो वन डे. सो इट्स
दैट इज वेरी ट्रू.
इट्स बेटर टू टेक केयर. स्मॉल, बहुत छोटे छोटे एफर्ट को आप प्रैक्टिस में अगर लाओगे, लाइफ स्टाइल चेंजेस इज नॉट ओनली व्हाट यू आर ईटिंग, how you are getting the food from the store, how you are preserving, how you are cooking, how better you maintain your hygiene. आप कुकिंग के लिए वाटर कौन सा यूज कर रहे हो, एवरीथिंग मैटर्स. बच्चों को फोर्स नहीं करना है आप दूध ज्यादा पियो. हम बच्चों को करते जूस पिलाते हैं, बहुत सारा जूस बच्चों को पिलाते हैं कि वो हेल्दी होंगे. जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड दे नीड सम फाइबर, they need some complex carbohydrate. पर हमें लगता है जूस हम एक्स्ट्रा फीडिंग करते हैं. And obviously pizza, burger, Swiggy, Zomato, these are there to help us to gain more. So we have to understand things are bad, but we have to survive in that bad environment only. We want development in our country, so at the cost of something, but by understanding the thing कि कैसे हमें अपने घर को रखना है, क्या खाना प्रोवाइड देना है, टाइमली कितना खाना है, ओवर फीडिंग नहीं कराना. दिस This is again, everybody is having 1 or 2 kids these days, and we do helicopter parenting. We just try to feed everything whatsoever they are asking. Chips ka packet le lo, kurkure ka packet le lo. We cannot blame our vegetable. Market mein samosa milte hain, burger milte, everything is easily available these days. We are able to buy like frozen vegetable also, chopped vegetable, we cook that. So we need to make a balance in our daily life, not only by what we are eating. Ek bolte na holistic approach of living a healthy life. Then only we will able to sail through this. Like
quite rightly put. And as the Buddha said, everything in moderation. I think that's a basic point. Nothing in excess. You do have your pizza, but everything in moderation. I think that's the magic.
That is true. The Italians would get very angry on it, that the pizza is an unhealthy thing. But the pizza they eat, that is like a very thin pizzas with the least of cheese on it and the freshest of vegetables. It is kind of eating roti for them.
Yeah.
So yes, malab, you need to choose the deep dish pizza which is right from the American side. The deep dish pizza with the double cheese and the fats in it. That is the problem.
They call it cheese busters.
Yeah, the cheese busters with the cheese on your outer rim as well.
Yeah, I'll come to you, Dr. Sandeep. These days, there are reports of nagging and persistent cough. Sometimes it's them. Some blame it on long COVID, the others blame it on weather, and some others say that it is of unknown etiology. What could be the underlying reason for this?
See, it is not because of COVID that you have this chronic cough and all. It is during when the winter set in a part of the country, the AQI shoots up. The smog which is there, what do we see? These husky mornings and the husky evenings, where all the dust, all your pollution is not able to move up in the sky. It settles down and it stays there. So it keeps on chronically irritating your throat as well. The suspended materials are not able to escape out in the outer layers of the atmosphere. So it stays there, it settles down and keeps on chronically irritating your throat. It is the pollution basically which is causing this. So you keep on coughing and you feel there's something there in your neck, but you don't really know what it is. You take an anti-allergic or something like that, or slight bronchodilator, and it becomes fine.
But one thing is that persistent coughing is also a symptom of TB. So how do you distinguish between ordinary cough and the cough due to TB?
See, cough due to TB and ordinary cough are very similar things. But in tuberculosis, you will always have signs like you're not feeling well. There's slight amount of fever as well. You're not good in the evening. But in case of chronic cough, you were able to carry out your daily activities like you were able to before. And and you would notice subtle changes in the weather as well. But in case of tuberculosis, the weather has nothing to do with it. You feel weak. You're not able to move around well. You have fever. There's also sputum production is there, and sometimes you can have bleeding as well in tuberculosis.
And with all this persistent cough and the weather happening, you have also a spurt in cough syrups these days. Every paper has an advertisement of this syrup or that syrup. How effective are these syrups?
They are not really effective. The syrups are something which a patient actually wants to get prescribed, but it doesn't really help. The best thing, the last thing which you can do is take in these syrups. The people in asthma, people don't prefer inhalers, that they'll get stuck to it. But the dose is there in micrograms. And it is something which reaches your lung directly, bypassing your whole of your stomach, your liver and your blood system, and then the least of side effects with them. But the things which you take in, you eat, it passes through your liver, gets metabolized, and then excreted by your kidneys, and hardly 10% reaches the lung. So obviously, an inhaler is much better. and it is the first recommendation in case of asthma and these coughs. But the patient feel that they become addicted to it. So the first thing they want to start is with an oral tablet and a cough syrup. And how much ever you try to explain it to them, only a few percentage understands that thing.
Yeah, that's
I've never had a cough syrup in my life. Once I, being a chest specialist, I have tasted it once and it was like just horrible.
And also, it's some cough syrups induce sleep. That's also a major problem.
Yeah, that is there. The phenylephrine and the codeine-based syrups, the antihistaminic syrups, they all cause increased sleep. So yes, taking them and sleeping off, you also in obese patient, you run a chance of increasing your apneas and your hypopneas, because any sedative given to an obese patient increases the apneas. I'd just like to touch down on the OSA thing as well, which we discussed the symptoms of it. What are the symptoms which a patient needs to recognize that he has got OSA? So you basically wake up in the morning, you're not fresh, you find something is amiss, and you feel like maybe raat ko theek se neend nahi aayi. These type of things you start thinking about when you go to a movie theater. These are just small points which you can which are the early markers. You go to a cinema hall, you're watching a movie and you fall asleep. You're watching a serial in home and you fall asleep. You're sitting in the back of your car and you start falling asleep. These are some of the very, very early signs that you might be having OSA. And more or less, you are bound. If you get the test done, you will find the apnea-hypopnea index is high, and you would be having OSA. So, if any of these things are there, morning headaches, to increase sleepiness in the day, not feeling fresh, fatigue throughout the day, you need to consult your doctor and you need to find out. Because many times these patients have underlying problem of diabetes and your hypertension, which are not controlled on several medications. But once you are able to diagnose that the patient has underlying OSA as well, and you treat that, these diabetes and your hypertension also come down, and the amount of drugs, the number of drugs they require also comes down in them, because your body inflammation is coming down.
Do you want anything, Devi Prakash?
Yes, I wanted to say a few things, like in obese people in general, like people having lean people also have low immunity these days. But with obesity, every mark you are crossing BMI more than 30, 35, 40, your immunity gets decreased. At the same time, inflammation, like you are coughing, you are having some problem, and some OSA kind of problem, or pulmonary embolism, asthma, you are coughing, and because of pollution, anything, if you're coughing a lot, inflammation is there. So I will not go into the science of inflammation. I will just suggest, like as a dietitian, what we can do for reducing the inflammation in our body. At the same time, how we can enhance our immunity to fight against all these things. Firstly, we need to reduce the obesity. So for reducing the obesity, we need to have food at right time, at short interval, in small quantity. What we are supposed to eat, like it's very difficult to count your calories throughout the day, but you can have whole grains, cereals in your diet. And this year, as government has decided to declare as the millets, for the millets. So we need to include millets, because of allergy and allergy induced inflammation, many people are getting getting allergic to gluten. Gluten is available in wheat, rye, barley. So if we will not eat wheat, then what we will eat? The simple question is there. So we can include millet, jowar, bajra, ragi, these things in our diet. These are very good source of complex carbohydrate. It will provide energy. It will help in reducing weight also. We can have whole pulses. Chana, moong, everything. Beans is very good for our health. So beans, kidney beans, rajma, everything we can have. Green vegetables, seasonal vegetables, local vegetables. Milk also we can have in moderation, but we should not exceed the limit of 500 milliliter of milk per day for an adult. Okay, and we must change our taking habit of taking sugar, white sugar, like crystal white sugar. Rather, we should shift to jaggery. Jaggery is available and it's very good source. And then fat also, we should avoid taking saturated fat. So we can have vegetable fat, we can have mustard oil, olive oil, rice bran oil, sunflower oil. We can use ghee, gai ka ghee or normal ghee. So these are the few things we must include in our life. Like fruit also, we should try. If I'm obese, let's suppose, so we should not take fruit juices. We should try to take whole fruit, and that too not more than 200 gram in a day. What food provides? People feel fruit अगर खाया तो जल्दी तबीयत अच्छी हो जाएगी. Food provide just fruits and minerals. Okay, for getting energy and like fever हो गया है, for coming back in shape, you need carbohydrate and protein, because vitamin and minerals are required in body in various smaller quantity. So 200 gram fruit, 2 serving of fruit, 5 serving of vegetable and 2 serving of green vegetable is sufficient for you. And obviously 6 to 8 serving, 30 gram is 1 serving of millets or the wheat or whole grains. And in fact, the 3 to 4 serving of pulses if you are vegetarian. एग भी क्या खाना है? जिन्हें एलर्जी है, जिन्हें प्रॉब्लम है, समटाइम जिन्हें एलर्जिक अस्थमा है या एलर्जी का कुछ प्रॉब्लम होता है, इन्फ्लेमेशन होता है, तो उसमें अवॉइड करना चाहिए अगर उन्हें प्रॉब्लम हो रही है. वन मोर थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू मेंशन, लाइक कि हमारे पास कुछ मिसकंसेप्शन होता है कि जिन्हें कुछ भी एलर्जी है, अस्थमा है, ओबेसिटी के बावजूद हमें केला नहीं खाना चाहिए, लेमन नहीं, ऑरेंजेस नहीं, दही नहीं. ठीक है, यू शुड नो कि आपके बॉडी को क्या है, बिकॉज ऑरेंजेस
that is very much. I would just like to disturb you once for once. This is a problem which we encounter in all our patients, being respiratory patients. यहाँ नहीं खाना है. You should eat each and everything, and it is the smaller things. I tell them that if a asthmatic patient, if a South Indian patient gets asthma or tuberculosis, he will not stop eating rice. He will continue to eat rice. It is only in our part of the country that you want to stop everything. The patients are basically being starved rather than being given proper food and a healthy diet. So they try to stop on everything. It is not you should stop everything. Something which is increasing your cough and you feel that thing is increasing your cough, that is the thing you need to stop and you need to avoid, rather than just a blanket ban on everything. All the citrus fruits and everything, then from where will you get your vitamin C?
Right.
Please continue.
Yeah.
Thank you. Banana is very good source of potassium, but I have seen किसी को भी ऐसा respiratory disease है, केला नहीं खाना है. But banana
ठंडा करता है केला.
हाँ, केला ठंडा करता है, दही ठंडा करता है. दही ठंडा नहीं करता है अगर आपने fresh curd बनाया है. आप उसको फ्रिज में स्टोर करके if you are keeping in refrigerator for 4 days, then obviously it will.
That is what we try to tell. The things in the fridge are cold and the things outside the fridge are warm.
Like oranges are very good. ये होता है कि oranges को जो fresh रखने के लिए preservative sulfite use किया जाता है, that may increase your allergic reaction. So we need, if we are able to find fresh oranges, fresh apple, like apple also, if you're washing in sodium bicarbonate, khane ka soda, for some time, 10 minutes, and we are eating, not keeping in refrigerator, tomato juice, it's a very good, it's a myth कि हमें नहीं खाना चाहिए. It should not be a blanket ban. हमें जो हमारे बॉडी को नहीं सूट कर रहा है, we can avoid that, क्योंकि researchers show that the vitamin C is very good for increasing your immunity and especially for this thing. अब एक second topic आता है, inflammation जिसकी मैं बात कर रही थी, उसको कैसे reduce कर सकते हैं? What all food we can include in our diet? One thing, like अभी winter set in कर चुका है and raw turmeric is available everywhere, and it's a very good for curcumin, जो turmeric का yellow color होता है, because of curcumin is a very good for reducing your inflammation. If you will take fresh curcumin water for 3 months, आप समझ लो आप पूरे साल को खींच लोगे. Inflammation. Second thing is ginger. Ginger is again a very good source. It helps in reducing inflammation in your body. Third thing is like spinach is again very good. Green tea. Green tea हम चाय पीते हैं, दूध डाल के, पत्ती डाल के, चीनी डाल के, बॉयल कर करके पीते हैं, एंड जितना डार्क कलर आता है उतना अच्छा चाय होता है. बट दैट इज अ रॉन्ग कंसेप्ट. ज्यादा कलर के लिए कंपनीज दे पुट कलर इन द चाय एंड दैट कॉजेस कैंसर. सो वी शुड try to take green tea in our life. Green tea को भी ऐसे नहीं cooking, उसको बनाने का भी है, just boil the water, add some green leaf, just cover the lid and then have the green tea to get the maximum efficiency. तो ये कुछ चीजें अगर हम अपने डाइट में इंक्लूड करेंगे तो दैट विल हेल्प इन रिड्यूसिंग आवर इन्फ्लेमेशन. ये बिल्कुल बॉदर किसी को नहीं करता है. इट विल नॉट डिस्टर्ब योर डेली रूटीन एंड इनफैक्ट all family members, बच्चे से लेकर के ओल्ड तक घर के, if you are taking turmeric water in the morning winter, आपके कफ कोल्ड बहुत दूर तक चले जाएंगे. 1 more minute. Like ये इन्फ्लेमेशन है, उसके अलावा घर में सभी को डीप ब्रीदिंग की प्रैक्टिस करनी चाहिए, बच्चों से लेकर के सभी को. If we will start practicing, and अनुलोम विलोम is one thing, is very simple. मतलब कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन हर योगा का होता है, बट दिस पर्टिकुलर योगा इज हैविंग नो कॉन्ट्राडिकेशन. एवरीबडी कैन डू. एंड आप फाइंड आउट करेंगे कि 3 मंथ लगातार करने के बाद कहाँ आपकी वो जो कॉफिंग होती है कहाँ दूर चली जाती है, पता नहीं.
Let me add just one more point to it. COPD is a disease where people feel that they can take treatment and they can get relieved, but basically COPD is a progressive disease and it doesn't stop. The only modification you can do to COPD is yoga, where you can increase your lung capacity, your lung muscles, the strength of your lung muscles, and you can control your disease that ways. Because beyond a point, the medicines also don't help. So the patients keep on asking us, Doctor, itni dawaiyan le rahe hain, phir bhi aaram nahi hai. We do advise them, do yoga, do these breathing exercises, go to a physiotherapist and start doing these. And there's a significant change which comes around. But people want a shortcut approach, that they just want to take the medicines. The medicines just relieve your symptoms. They don't control your disease. Your disease gets improved by a modification in your lifestyle.
Well, I think it's all well put. We are running short of time, but still, I think obesity, as what both of you said, not a temporary issue. It is something that builds up over the years, and you cannot just walk around and shed it at just 1 month or 2 months. I think it needs persistent effort. It needs willpower. And more than anything, right balance of food. Thank you very much, Dr. Sandeep.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we will close this episode and we'll see you all next Sunday for another fresh topic of, concerning lives of people. Thank you very much.